Hello everybody. Today I will show you my new toy. This is an endoscope. It consists of a long cable, at one end of which is a small camera, or rather a lens with 6 LEDs, and on the reverse side is a USB for connecting to a laptop and a micro USB for connecting to a smartphone. Now I will connect the endoscope to the phone and visually show you how it works. Well, for such a small camera, the details are pretty good. Well, let's take the endoscope and let's go and look at other people's houses. In the holes in there, in the hollows, maybe we'll find something interesting there. I'm right. I foresee where Novus haters will like to put this camera. All right, so let's not talk about that, people here. The main thing is here that my subscribers and I are pretty normal people. Well, at least the subscribers are pretty normal. Even when we were shooting the Mega Slingshot video, I noticed a lot of holes in the ground of the ground. There is an assumption that all of these holes are snake holes. So to begin with a small upgrade, we take some tape and fix the wire to it. The ideal device for this kind of filming is ready. Would you guys know how many holes we have turned over and how much time we have spent to find at least something in these holes? Almost all of them were empty. We no longer thought that the inhabitants of these underground settlements would meet us anywhere, but we lucked out. We found a mink with eggs that were left after the hatched snakes. Well, maybe it was the lizard snakes. First, with the help of a camera and then a wire, the remains of the eggs were carefully removed from the burrows. You guys, this shell turned out to be really soft. Just look, they seem to be made out of paper here. They crumple really easily and they deform easily. And anyway, this means that snakes have been here, and most likely recently. This fact could not have made us happier, but we were inspired by the search for snakes. You guys, we've been digging in the Earth's soil for about an hour, and as it turned out, not in vain. We put our camera on the next trip, and somewhere at a depth of about half a meter, an uninvited guest appeared. The poor little guy, as soon as he saw the camera, twisted into several layers and sat quietly, tried not to dig anything, but still could not resist the light of the camera since it's LED. Or maybe it was just hypnotized with the light at the end of the tunnel. That way we managed to lure her out a little bit. Well, or at least I thought the camera would be its next victim. Just look at this little baby. As it turned out, this is a very small viper. Although I looked up on Wikipedia and read that vipers 15 to 20 centimeters long are already becoming poisonous. And our specimen is clearly more than 20 centimeters long. Its bite is potentially dangerous to humans, although it rarely leads to fatal outcomes. In general, it's better not to play with things like this, but for the sake of the shot, I was happy to. We played around with it, but even it needs to be respected, so we put it back into the hole where it was. And that way it can return with pleasure. Apparently, this snake is pretty capricious. As soon as it crawled out of its house, for some reason it changed its mind about staying in there. After our arrival, it probably decided that this housing was no longer safe. By the way, you guys, are you afraid of snakes? Let us know in the comments. Surely the next guess will cause you horror. Yeah, I'm talking about spiders. I found 2 minks here. Just look at the first one. It looks like some kind of miniature defensive tower, probably defending itself from people like us. Could we maybe flood them out? Let's take a look at who's inside. At first, the path was clear, but then a spider appeared on the horizon. It immediately hid behind some sort of spherical thing in a hole. Along the way, our little craftsman made himself a multi-story burrow. He hid behind the wall and did not want to come out to see us at all. After several attempts to reach him, it became clear that he was not going to leave. So we moved on to another burrow. Near another spider hut, we were also supposed to have a caterpillar as a bonus. It was probably its victim, and we interrupted his meal. We hope that he won't be upset about this. At first, this spider also used the tactics of a retreat and hid down. The diameter of the endoscope is the same as the spider's burrow. In order not to break the house, we will not forcibly shove the camera down. Yeah, we didn't even need to. The second tarantula turned out to be more curious and got himself out to see what was going on. All right, little buddy, don't worry. We're already leaving. You guys, there is a park not far from my house, and there are a lot of squirrels there, so maybe you could find a squirrel house. I read some information before we went out. It writes that squirrels live in the burrows of deciduous trees. We're gonna look. While we were looking at a possible habitat, we found a cool tree. Apparently, during the development, it had a pretty changeable mood and could not decide where to grow. There are also some mushrooms growing out here, and who knows, maybe it's edible or a toadstool. There is a hollow in the first tree. We began to explore the territory by diving into it. Whoa, it is so dark in here. It's hard to even really see what's inside. You can see that everything is shining in there, everything is wet, and well, there's definitely no squirrel. We found another hollow, but it's pretty high up. It's good that Amanda descended from a monkey because we had the skills of our ancestors and we climbed the tree. I poked the camera back and forth inside, and honestly, everything is still the same as last time. There are no traces of a squirrel just yet. 21st century, what trees? It's damp inside. There are insects. With modern squirrels, they probably make hollows in like pillars. Here is another possible habitat for these animals. I'm going to have to climb trees again. But for this, we have a ladder. There's no way we could do this without insurance because this is our level. It looks funny, of course, from the outside, so let's see how it looks on from the camera's face. Oh, now this is what I'm talking about. Although we didn't find any squirrels, you can notice its traces. A bunch of some grass, like pieces of walnuts here. The obvious evidence speaks for itself. Our little squirrel's been here anyway. Probably felt that it was better to get away before we showed up. Really, we did not find any local inhabitants, but we visited their home. By the way, while we were trying to find a squirrel, we found some kind of incomprehensible hole underneath one of the trees. And it looked like it was challenging us, so we started exploring its underground realm. Maybe somebody lives in it now? When I lowered the camera in even deeper, I saw a stirring. There's something strange living in there. It's hard to imagine what it could even be. So during our second try, we managed to get a little bit closer to these creatures, and I tried for a long time to consider what it is and finally understood. However, I realized that when the mother of these creatures came running to the noise I raised, I think that this is a whole family of mice, or precisely a lot of newborn mice with their mother. We're not going to mess with them any further and frighten them with our presence. You guys, all the previous shootings were quite light. It's going to be really hot now, you guys. We found a house built in the 50s in an old part of the city. Locals there say that, to put it mildly, there are a lot of cockroaches. This happens because of the wooden floors and the walls, and cockroaches love this. What are we talking about here? There are even like wooden stairs between the floors. While we were wandering around, we found holes in the floor in which, in theory, something could be inside. So let's lay out our equipment and start shooting. As you can see, we have not found anything but darkness and incomprehensible substances that do not resemble anything alive in here. It's really strange that there was nothing in like a damp wooden place, but we have what we have. There was nothing down there to catch, and we decided to go into the attic, check the ventilation shaft. Cockroaches also like to roam in places like that. When we got up there, it was like we were on the set of some kind of horror movie, like wooden supports and beams, a wooden roof, and everything is damp in there. It's like loose, a bunch of cobwebs. Basically, it's terribly dark in there, but if it wasn't for our lighting, who knows what we have been able to find in there. The slate is already collapsing, so this building is definitely not suitable for operation in here. But for cockroaches, it's quite possible. And you guys, you will not believe this. We found a hornet's nest inside. A bunch of cobwebs, incomprehensible pieces of building materials, and no signs of anything inside of it alive. Probably even the cockroaches refuse to exist in such conditions. So alright, you guys, that's it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click on the bell. See you soon. Bye-bye.